So at this point, we know that Ethereum got safe harbored. And what do I mean by that? Well, in this video, I'm gonna go over what we now know about the William Hinman speech that gave Ethereum a free pass, or what is now known as safe harbor. It wasn't Bill Hinman's idea. It wasn't even the SEC's idea. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what was just revealed by the digital asset investor and by some other digging that I did that turned up the actual group of people that met with the SEC to go over this safe harbor and why Ethereum was given a free pass. And there's a big question that the SEC is going to have to answer that they don't want to. Speaking of the SEC, Cathie Wood was on a recent interview, and she made mention of something that's been on the minds of a lot of XRP holders because a lot of them are barking up the right tree. I'm going to tell you what she thinks about banks being involved with the SEC. Also, we have PayPal now announcing that anybody in the UK can buy cryptocurrencies through their PayPal account. There's a whole list of currencies you can buy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. And like my last video, another coin has just hit Coinbase, and I'm going to tell you what its massive bump did, like what happens with most coins when they first hit Coinbase. And before we get into the rest of the video, I wanted to ask you guys about Ethereum and I want you to comment in the comments section below because it seems like Ethereum has really been getting skewered a lot recently on Twitter, and I wanted to see if it was just the things that I was seeing or if it's something that's actually happening in reality. And that is a lot of people complaining about the gas fees, essentially the transaction fees to buy something with Ethereum or send Ethereum. But I want to know what you guys think. Are the gas fees on the Ethereum network just too high? I saw a Twitter post go viral because it was asking people how much money they actually lost simply by using the Ethereum network. I've also seen posts about people saying they're not going to use any NFT platform that's based on Ethereum. They're going to wait until Solana and Cardano have their marketplaces built out. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel we are covering the Ripple versus SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news and investment markets and personal finance. So if you want to follow along with any of those topics, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And I believe that people in the crypto space are some of the most generous people on the planet. So if you're feeling generous today, I'd really appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, smash the thumbs up button. And number two, watch the video all the way through. It really helps out. Those are the two best things that you can really do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, well, let's jump into it. So first, PayPal just announced that if you're a UK resident, you can now buy crypto through PayPal. Now, this was actually announced back in February, and in August, they started adding support for this, and it is now officially live. So if you're in the UK, you can go ahead and buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and several others. Now, PayPal did say that they're working with regulators in the UK, but good luck with that, because anytime they work with regulators in the US, aka legalized extortion, it doesn't always go so well. And now on Coinbase, they just listed another coin, and this one was really going viral. Shiba Inu, which is a competitor to Dogecoin, basically a meme coin, was just listed on Coinbase. And yesterday, or in my last video, I announced that Zen, which was the previous token that was listed on Coinbase, saw a 22% increase almost instantly. Well, Shiba Inu launched on Coinbase, and they saw a 40% jump. Within literally about 30 minutes, it jumped 40%. So that's just the kind of effect that getting listed on Coinbase can actually have. And I want to talk a little bit about what Cathie Wood just said on a recent interview, which involves the SEC. And I'm going to tie this into my point about with the SEC and the Ripple case, some of the information that just came out. So anyway, Cathie Wood was giving an interview, and she was talking a lot about the regulatory enforcement actions that are now being taken, a lot of the regulatory heat that's now being put on crypto companies. And she really hit the nail on the head because this is what a lot of XRP holders have been thinking for quite some time. And that is that the SEC is really out to protect banks, not necessarily individual investors, unless of course the investor is the bank. So she mentioned she was on a call with JP Morgan, and Jamie Dimon, who was doing the speaking, had said that they're going to actually be at a net loss for their loan growth for the end of the year. And Cathie Wood kind of thought that was crazy. So upon thinking about it, she thought, well, maybe it's because of the yield that is actually available in the crypto space. And she actually mentioned Ethereum being one of them. is actually so much better than what companies can get outside of that in the banking sector. And her thoughts on that were that the yields from the crypto sector were just becoming too competitive for the banking sector, and that's actually scaring a lot of the banking industry. And as she put it, the banks are beginning to see how much they could actually get hollowed out from things like yields from the crypto space, from the DeFi space, which is one of those things that the SEC is now announcing, of course, that they're getting into. With getting into what? Regulating the DeFi space. Well, as Cathie Wood basically alluded to, they're protecting the banks, not necessarily the individual investors. And to that point, the SEC actually went ahead and threatened Coinbase when Coinbase wanted to launch its own lending product. So when banks are getting scared, the SEC turns around and puts pressure, threatens lawsuits, and puts all kinds of regulatory heat on this DeFi space. Makes more sense. A lot of people in the XRP community have been thinking this for a long time, that the SEC is really out to protect the banks, not the investors. And recently, we've just kind of found out or stumbled upon who actually helped write William Hinman's Ethereum is Not a Security speech. Now that's kind of a famous speech now, and as the digital asset investor deserves a ton of credit. He's a YouTuber that's been doing all kinds of digging into this Ripple versus the SEC case. He actually posted an article and basically said that, hey, back in 2018, there was a group of venture capitalists that actually came together, formed a group, and met with the SEC with the intent of having basically a safe harbor for certain cryptocurrencies. So upon digging a little bit further, one of the names that came up that basically headed the whole thing together, someone by the name of Andreessen Horowitz. This is the name that kept coming up no matter what article I read from back in 2018 about this group meeting specifically with 3 people from the SEC behind closed doors, as this article put it, to discuss a safe harbor, whereas the SEC would essentially give a free pass or a safe harbor to cryptocurrencies that were still essentially building out their platform, aka Ethereum. And that at some point in the future, once that's all done, then they would no longer be considered securities, even though they had an ICO, like Ethereum did. So now it's becoming a little more clear that it was basically a lobbying group that met with Jay Clayton, William Hinman, and Mark Berger, got them to give Ethereum a free pass. They may have even helped them write that speech. Who knows? I highly doubt William Hinman looked at the tokenomics of Ethereum and came up with all of that himself. Especially when some of the quotes in these articles were quoting these venture capitalists saying things like, it's not really a security when it's decentralized enough. And then you hear William Hinman repeating that statement 2 months later. So of course the big question is, why did Jay Clayton, William Hinman, and Mark Berger drop the lawsuit onto Ripple the day before Jay Clayton left, and shortly after, of course, William Hinman left as well? Seems to be a huge conflict of interest there. Because there's one question that I want answered, and it's just a question. It's a fair question. What did those 3, Jay Clayton, William Hinman, and Mark Berger, have to gain by giving Ethereum the safe harbor pass, by declaring it essentially not a security, at least for a limited time, and not giving Ripple the opportunity to do the same thing Ethereum did, which is finish building out their ecosystem until it's decentralized enough to not be considered a security? This rabbit hole keeps going really, really deep. It's kind of fun covering it, but in any case, the more I study this case, the more I really can't see Judge Netburn handing this case over to the SEC unless there's something else going on, because there's no way you can look at the facts of this case, the origination of this case, the origination of the Ethereum is not a security speech, the fair notice defense, and how there really was no fair notice, because if you read a whole bunch of articles from back in 2018, the SEC is still inviting people inside the space to come and talk about how to properly regulate and create frameworks of regulations around these tokens. This is back in 2018. So if the judge looks at all of this, I really can't see in my heart how she could really go any way but give this a summary judgment to Ripple. Or if the SEC just wants to pack it in and say, all right, let's settle, they might be doing that behind the scenes. Of course, there's always speculation of that on Twitter. And if you want to follow me there, I put the link in the description below. You can go and follow me there. I've retweeted a lot of the different findings from myself, digital asset investor, and a whole bunch of people from the XRP community have been digging up all kinds of information, which could result in a faster settlement than the SEC wanted. So in any case, if you want to follow along with any of these topics, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit that bell notification icon. And once again, thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.